Hey y'all, it's Stephanie, and in today's video I'm going to tell you my 10 top must-haves for sublimation printing. Now, this list is broken down from 10 being the items that you need to have good products or projects, but you don't absolutely have to have, to 1 being absolute musts. Now, I do have it written down right here, so if you see me looking down, that is why. But let's get into our list, shall we? Number 10 is a sublimation coating. Now, this can be in a spray for fabric, or it can be in a solution that you mix part A and part B with for like canvases, mugs, stuff like that. And what this is it must be a polyester base, and you put it on products in order for the sublimation to take. All right. Number 9, protection papers to prevent ink transfer. This is because sublimation, whenever you go to press it, the heat turns the ink into a gas, and that gas adheres to the polyester molecules that is on your blank project. So if you do not have that extra paper on top and bottom of your project, what happens is you'll get transfer onto the front or the back of your shirt or whatever you're pressing on. It will transfer. So you absolutely need protection between those layers to prevent the gas from getting onto other areas of your project. Okay, number 8, design programs. Now, I typically use Microsoft Publisher or Cricut Design Space. There are multiple different programs out there. I do have like a background eraser for like some of my pictures. So like if I want to take a certain picture, like say I want to take a picture of one of my kids, I go in there, I put it in my background erasing app. It erases all the background, and then I put it into Publisher, do what I want to do with it in there, and then I'll print it off. Publisher allows it to print without the black box, but you're pretty much limited to what Publisher can do. Now, Design Space, it has a lot of extra tools and stuff, but if you print from Design Space, you're going to get the black box and it's going to want to cut it out. So what I recommend doing, should you use Design Space to design your project, I recommend taking a screenshot and then putting it into like Publisher or Word or a picture editing software or anything like that, and taking out the black box and then printing it out. Okay, number 7, heat resistant tape. Now, this protects your print from moving. You want to use heat resistant tape because when you go to put, okay, so let's say you're using a press. You put your press there, you put your blank there, you put your paper in between the blank. Say we're doing a shirt. Okay, then you put your paper down or your transfer, and then you put another piece of paper to protect the top, right? So you got to press that. Once you lift up, it's going to lift up that picture, and what it's going to do if you don't have it taped down is it's going to cause ghosting, which is like a duplicate image, but like a ghost of that same image on the same blank. It's not a very pretty sight. So in order to prevent that, you're going to want some heat transfer tape or heat resistant tape. Okay, so number 6, polyester blanks. This includes mugs with sublimation coating, polyester coated canvases, and shirts, which I recommend 100% polyester, but that's always best, 100% polyester. But you can use a mix. I don't recommend going below 50% polyester without a sublimation spray. Okay, number 5, print or paper to print your transfer. Now, this can be sublimation printer, which is recommended because it's a thicker paper, but you don't have to use sublimation printer paper. I do use regular paper from time to time, just depending on what I'm doing and what needs to be done. Now, sublimation paper, it takes higher heat without turning dark and burning, because if you press on computer paper for too long, it turns dark and it can stick to your project. Now, sublimation paper. It has a higher resistance to heat, but it's still not completely resistant. So you're recommended to use sublimation paper, but you don't have to. And the longer you press, the deeper your images are going to be. So if you take it and you press 40 seconds, you're going to get a lighter image than you would if you press 60 seconds. But you don't want to press too long, because then, like I said, the paper will stick to your canvas and you'll have a mess. Okay, so that was number 5. Let's go on to number 4. Number 4 is a heat source. Heat source. So you could use an iron. I use, of course, my heat press. I have an 8-in-1. It comes with the flat press, the 4 different mug presses, a hat press, and 2 plate presses. So I can press a wide range of things. You don't have to have a heat press, though. You can use an iron. Okay, number 3. Now, my top 3 are definite must-haves for me. Well, for anybody, really, because, I mean, they are the most important to have with sublimation printer. You cannot print sublimation without these 3 items. Okay, the first thing, or number 3, is going to be sublimation printer or converted printer. Now, there's a few different printers that you can use to convert with. But it must be new. I do not recommend using a printer that has had like inkjet ink through it. That won't come out well, as the ink solidifies on the printer head and it will mess up your prints. But I have an Epson Stylus C88 Plus, and I got that off of Amazon, and it did come in a kit with the next item. So number 2, that would be a Cis cartridge. It's an ink cartridge that's made for sublimation. It's got the adapters that go into your ink module that's in your printer. But it also has like an extra reservoir. Whenever you're printing sublimation prints, it typically, what happens is it typically uses more ink, because it does not only higher quality photos, but you need more ink to sublimate, because it turns it to gas and that adheres to the polyester molecules. So I do recommend having a Cis, which has that extra reservoir. Okay, and number 1 is, of course, one of the most important things is to have a high quality UV or anti-UV ink, and it has to be a sublimation ink. So my number 1 must have is high quality anti-UV sublimation ink. And I use PJs, but there's many brands, and you kind of just got to know what brand you're looking for. Any ink used for UV or any ink labeled for sublimation can work. I mean, obviously, or they wouldn't sell it for sublimation. But some inks are higher quality than others, and you'll just have to see what works best for you, your printer, and your heat press. Some inks that may work for somebody else that has a different sublimation printer than me may not work in my sublimation printer, and vice versa. So you just got to kind of test the waters and see what works best for you. But yeah, so that's my 10 top must-haves. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it helps you get started on your sublimation process. And if y'all have anything that I left out, leave them in the comment section down below. So if you like this video, give us a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like this one, hit the subscribe button down below. And thank you so much for watching. Y'all have a great day. Bye.